Hello everyone, it's Nina and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different on my channel, and I want to try and do a reading vlog that's spread out over the course of an entire month, instead of just doing a weekly reading vlog. Most of this is the fact that I usually only film my videos on the weekends anyway, so if I did a weekly reading vlog, it would literally just be me doing an update on Sunday and then another update at the end of the week on Saturday. So I thought this format would be a little bit better, because I can also kind of do a general tracking of how much progress I make on my monthly TBR, starting here at the beginning of the month and then doing a final wrap up right at the end of the month. So that's what this video is going to be, just kind of like a general chill, chatty reading vlog where we can go through the entire month of February. I have a couple goals in terms of this month. If you didn't see my February reset video, at the end of that video I did pick out my February TBR. And in general, in this month I have two main goals. The first is the fact that I want to kind of finish some books that have been lingering a little bit longer than I normally would have them left in an unread state. Some books that I had to pause because I didn't have access to the audiobooks for a while, as well as just some books that I'm carrying over from January. And the other main thing is I really want to focus on reading down my physical TBR. In the reset video, I did an entire pink and red book cover theme for the month of February in honor of Valentine's Day. So those are the main things I want to tackle in this video. It is actually currently February 8th. I probably should have filmed the intro to this a week ago on February 1st, but I figured let's have it be better late than never. This month I do think I am going to be a little bit busy. Next weekend we are going to be going to Katsucon, which is an anime convention outside of DC. And then the very last weekend of the month, our friend Val is going to be coming into town because we are going to be going to the live show for Kelsey McKinney's book tour. And we'll probably get up to doing some other fun things in the city when she's here. But in the meantime, this is kind of one of my downtime weekends. I'm doing some laundry right now. I just changed my sheets and I need to put the duvet cover back on my comforter. My wife and I also had a very fun morning. We went to the library and she picked out some movies for us to watch. And then I actually spent the majority of this morning finishing reading Onyx Storm, which I have an entire reading vlog for that I'll probably link somewhere up above. TLDR for that book is I enjoyed it. I do think it's more of a filler book than even Iron Flame was. But even though there were some things I did really enjoy about the overall structure of the book, I did have a lot of fun while I was reading it. And definitely the apprehension and excitement to read more kept me very motivated throughout the entire reading process, which is something that I consider a marker of a good book. So I ended up giving that one 4 stars. Let me talk about the other book that I'm currently in the process of reading, which I think I'm actually going to spend the majority of the rest of the day focusing on, and that is Dark Air. I'm currently reading the audiobook through Hoopla. I'm currently on chapter 29, which is 59% of the way through. This is the sequel to Dark Rise, which is a YA historical fantasy. I believe this is going to be a trilogy, but there's pretty much nothing out for the title and release date for the last book in the series. Dark Rise was actually one of the books on my 25 books to read in 2025, and I really enjoyed that book. I read it in January and I gave it 4.5 stars. And this sequel book, Dark Air, I think is even better. I think it honestly could be a 5-star. I'm holding off a little bit of my judgment as I get closer to the end, just to see what the last 40% of the book will hold. But some of the scenes that we've had in this book so far have just truly left my jaw on the floor. Complete shock, and I feel like I've been enjoying my time reading it so much. So I really want to read more of this book. I kind of had to take around a week break off of it, just because usually when I'm really busy at work, I don't really have a lot of mental space before and after work when I'm on my commute, or even on my lunch break, which is when I normally would spend time listening to my audiobook. But work did calm down in the last week or so I was able to read a lot more of this. So I think now I'm going to spend some time listening to the audiobook and doing a little bit more cleaning. I'm not going to do a big deep clean of my apartment like I did in my February reset, because I'll probably save that until after we get back from Katsucon. One thing you should know about my cat George is whenever we leave town for a couple days, he will track litter throughout the entire apartment, which I know it's not his fault. I think he's just a little bit stressed out from us not being around. And normally I would be around to also clean up any messes he makes, but I'm not gonna put that on my cat sitter to do for me. So I'll probably save after we get back for doing any vacuuming and mopping. Right now I'm just mostly focusing on doing laundry so that when we come back and have a bunch of dirty clothes from the convention, there will be no piles of laundry sitting around for me to deal with first. I think now that my laundry is almost done, I will take some time plugging into my audiobook, folding that up, and remaking my bed. So that's my plan for right now, and I'll probably come back to you tomorrow with my next update. it is now the next day. I thought I'd give you a quick reading update and then we'll talk about my plans for the day. Between last night when I was folding laundry and this morning when I was folding laundry, I am now on chapter 37, which is 72% of the way through Dark Air. I'm still really loving this book. And I did talk my wife's ear off this morning, trying to convince her to listen to this series as audiobooks together with me. I just feel like the overall plot, as well as the character dynamics between Will and James, is something that she would really enjoy. So hopefully in the future I'll be able to do a reread of these books with her. But my big goals for today is I'm trying to do a lot of my packing for Katsucon. I don't know if you can see over there, but the only thing I've done so far is I've taken out some of my packing cubes. I have yet to take out my entire suitcase. I think I'm going to wait until a little bit later in the day to take out my suitcase because they take up like such a large percentage of the bedroom when they're like fully laid out and I'm packing everything up. But I think in a little bit I'm going to pack up all my like normal clothes that aren't cosplays as well as my toiletries into the packing cubes so it will be like ready to go into the suitcase. I do have another load of laundry to do, but I think I'm going to wait and do that on Monday because Kyle is coming over later and I don't really like having our big drying rack out when we have friends over since it takes up so much space in the apartment. I thought really quick I could show you some of the updates I've done in my reading journal. I did glue in this morning the 2 most recent books I've had. The last one I did in January and then my first book of February, which was Onyx Storm. And then here's a look at what my monthly spread is for February. I think this one turned out really good. I used some of my like favorite stickers I own, which is this set of like cute like little like anime girls that is from I think a Taobao brand called Candy Poetry. I got it at an anime convention and I haven't been able to find it again online, but they're really cute and I really try to like spread them out across my journal just kind of to savor the use of each of the stickers that I have. So this is the most recent spread I've done in my journal. I think if I have some time, I might work on my individual page layouts for Onyx Storm and Dark Air on this spread right afterwards. But for right now, I think I'm going to go back, plug back into my audiobook, and work on packing for the convention. And possibly I'll come back to you later in the day when I have another update. Okay, I don't really know how well you can see my setup at all, but I have laid out pretty much everything I'm taking for the convention. I have all of my cosplays put on like this side. Some of them are in packing cubes. I also have some packing cubes over here. I basically have all like my clothes on this side and then a bunch of the wigs on this side. And then some packing cubes that has like my underwear as well as some like cosplay items that I don't want them to get like snagged. Like Ianthe's shirt is made out of like a pretty thin chiffon, so I want to make sure that's going to be like protected. So I have that in a packing cube. I also have Day and Jordan's gift, one of the pairs of shoes I have, and our steamer. We always bring a travel steamer when we go to conventions, just because I feel like some stuff you can't use an iron on, and sometimes hotel rooms don't even have irons to begin with. I also have my toiletries container over there that I still have to go through. And then up here I have the backpack I'm going to take with me. Currently only things it has in it is a beanie that I have to use for my Jessie cosplay. And then this Clodsire plushie that we are bringing for when I cosplay Rika. I'm wearing Christina's Rika costume so she can be Tulip, and then we're going to have like a bigger like Scarvi Pokemon group. And luckily Will had this Clodsire plush when we went to visit him last weekend. So he let us borrow it so I can carry it around. I'm also going to use it as like a pillow when we are on the Megabus. I actually have like a dedicated Pokemon themed neck pillow, but I don't really want to bring that and this. So I'm just going to use this as my neck pillow. It's a little late now. Actually, everyone else is out finishing up playing the Pokemon Go Community Day event today, which is why Kyle came over. But I got a little bit tired, so I came in before the last like 30 minutes of the Community Day. And I figured this would be a good time to update you. In the morning, I did read a little bit more of my book. I think I'm probably close to like 75% of the way through. And we spent most of the rest of the morning packing. I thought I would have more time to sew today, but this actually took up a lot more time than I thought it would. Just trying to like go through all my storage and find the other pieces of my cosplays. I feel like back in the day, I would really meticulously craft everything I was going to wear at a convention. And this time around, honestly, ever since COVID, my schedule has been much more like, yeah, a couple days before the con, I'll figure out what I'm going to wear. The only thing I know that we 100% are going to be wearing that I had planned ahead of time was that we're going to be wearing the Tridentarius sisters because we have a photo shoot for that on Sunday. But everything else, I just kind of go with the vibes, seeing with what my friends want to do. And honestly, I feel like it makes the convention planning process a whole lot easier. But I think I'm going to take a break now. I think my wife, Christina, will be back pretty soon. So I think I'm just gonna relax until she gets here, and then we'll like prepare everything for dinner and just have a chill rest of the night. Okay, so it's been like a week and a half since I last talked to you. I thought I would do this first part of the update while I finished doing my makeup. So last weekend was Katsucon, and it was a lot of fun. Pretty much always going to be a guaranteed good time if we're rooming with Day and Jordan and Valerie. Just because I love them so much, and I feel so bad that we live so far apart that we really can only see each other like 1 or 2 times a year. But overall, it was a surprisingly not stressful con. Didn't have any mental breakdowns, which is always a good sign. I don't really feel like I pushed myself particularly hard in terms of like the cosplays I was doing. So maybe that added to like my lack of stress. However, it did make me very motivated that I want to try and do more elaborate cosplays next year. We spent a lot of like downtime in the hotel room just like watching the dub of Yu-Gi-Oh on the TV, which is really good and honestly made me really motivated to work on Yu-Gi-Oh cosplay in the future. Since I don't think I've ever mentioned on this channel, but Yu-Gi-Oh was like my main fandom for many years, pretty much the last maybe like 7 or so years. And then when Skate the Infinity came out in 2021, Skate kind of like filled the void that Yu-Gi-Oh had left, since I wasn't really a big fan of Sevens, at least in terms of like the art style. I actually haven't watched too much of the actual show. I definitely probably will in the future, but I just like kind of prefer the shows that were animated by the original studio more. And it's also been a while since I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, so being able to watch like the dub of that is just so nostalgic because I remember watching it on TV as a kid, and then me and my brother owned a lot of the DVDs, so we would watch it on repeat a lot. And it was just really fun to talk to my friends that also have a lot of nostalgia for Yu-Gi-Oh! And grew up with it and have a lot of like their own personal headcanons and like characters that I really love. That's definitely like one of my favorite things about fandom, is getting to see like which characters turn into the Blorbos from your shows that live in your brain forever. So we just had a really good time, and I'm really hoping that we can do more Yu-Gi-Oh! Cosplay with our friends in the future. And just kind of like relive all of the really joyous, fun cosplay experiences we had in like the late 2010s when we were first getting into all of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Spin-offs. I should mention in terms of doing my makeup, the palette I use for daily wear, and pretty much every time I'm filming a video, is the Making Mauves palette by ColourPop. But it doesn't have a mirror in it, so I usually use my Natasha Denona palette since there's this pretty massive mirror on this one. And I also use the brown shade in this every single day for my eyebrows. I don't think I'm going to wear mascara because I'm kind of worried that my mascara has gone bad, because I felt like when I wore it yesterday, my eye was like really itchy, but only one eye, the one that usually always gives me trouble. Actually, a very annoying thing that happened at Katsu was on Thursday night, my eye was just like super weepy, and I don't know if it was like a lingering infection or something, but it meant I couldn't wear contacts then. Even though my eye was feeling a lot better on Friday, I also didn't wear contacts then. Luckily, it cleared up by the rest of the weekend, so my eye was pretty normal for the rest of our vacation. But it was like great. The one weekend when I actually like need to wear contacts is the one when my eye is acting up and I'm really not supposed to be wearing contacts. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of my reading updates. While we were at Katsucon, I finished listening to the audiobook for Dark Air, and I think this is going to be my first 5-star of the year. I loved it so much. All of the drama and like the character interactions were really good in this. Some of the final reveals, and then like the kind of cliffhanger that it left off on, was so good, and really book 3 cannot come soon enough. I think it's rumored that it might come out in fall of 2025, but there hasn't been any announcements. If not, it probably will be a 2026 release, so hopefully I won't have to wait too long for the last book in the series to come out. I also kind of pitched the entirety of the Dark Rise series to all of my friends in our hotel room, because it very much seems like a series that they would like, and it's very much a series I think my wife would like, so I'm hoping I can convince her to listen to the audiobook with me. I think also if I go to a Barnes & Noble sometime in the near future, I'm going to see if they have the hardback editions of those books available. I was considering, because Dazzling Bookshop is doing a special edition set of them coming out soon, but I also felt like it was a little bit too expensive for me. It would take basically half of my book budget for this year. And I also don't really need like all the additional stuff that's coming with the box. Like, I think the idea of like the enamel pins and the bookmarks are nice, but I don't really like acrylic standees. And even though the art on the covers is very pretty, I don't necessarily know if I like it any more than the standard edition covers. So I'd rather just get the hardbacks of the standard editions and then do my own like DIY sprayed edges or something like that. I actually have a good idea of something I could do for a design if I used my mom's Cricut to create like a stencil. So I might end up doing that. It's been a while since I've done any book customization, and I find it really fun when I get the chance to do it. So I just need to make more time and like a plan for doing that in the future. In addition to finishing Dark Air, I also started reading Blood and Honey. This is the sequel book to Serpent and Dove. I'm currently, I think, almost exactly halfway. I think in the audiobook, I'm like 49% of the way through. I primarily have been listening to this as an audiobook. I started it on the way home from Katsucon, and then I've been reading it over the course of the last couple days on my commute and at lunch. Although, to be honest, I haven't had a ton of free time to be reading. As like a slight tangent, work has been a little bit chaotic. My, like, not boss, but like one of my supervisors just recently left. Her last day was actually the Friday of Katsucon, so I couldn't be there for it, which is kind of sad because she is one of the people at my work who I would consider a friend. And when I left for my vacation on Wednesday, I basically sent her a message being like, hey, I don't give my social media out to my coworkers, but in 2 days you won't be my coworker anymore, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, here's my info. So hopefully we can still keep in touch, even though she's not going to be at my job anymore. But since she's been gone, there's been kind of like a void, and all of her tasks have been re-delegated to other people, including me, so I've kind of been a little bit more busy at work than I normally am. And because of that, I just feel like I end up being a lot more drained, and I don't want to read as much, either on my lunch break or when I come home. I really want to get into the better habit of reading right before bed, and that's definitely something I need to work on in the future. Anyway, let me go back and talk about the progress I made in Blood and Honey. Like I said, I'm halfway through. I both like this book, but at the same time, I don't know if I really love it. I definitely like it a lot less than the previous book in the series. I was wondering if it was just like a me problem, and I did look up some reviews of this book, and it seems like the general consensus from a lot of people is that the first half of this book is a little too scattered, but the second half is a lot better and much more dynamic and fun. So I'm hoping that as I'm like getting over the hump of the halfway mark, I'll enjoy the second half of this book more. I think part of the other reason why I wasn't really liking the beginning half of this book is for a good section of it, the main two characters and the love interest are separated as they're like doing separate parts of a journey. And I feel like their dynamic together is the thing that made me really love the first book. But I think now that they've been like reunited, and hopefully the like movement towards the main goal and like climax of this book is going to be the focus for the second half. I think I'm going to probably try and read more of this later today, although I do have another goal for the next week or so, and that is I really want to make a lot of progress in reading You Didn't Hear This From Me by Kelsey McKinney, because we are going to see her live show on Thursday, and her book actually did come in the mail. It shipped right before I left for Katsucon, and then I got it like a couple days ago. So I might end up reading a little bit more of this today, or I might pivot to starting that book. I also did my makeup, not only because I wanted to film, but because in like an hour, my mom is going to pick me and my wife up, and I'm going to go out for a like belated Valentine's brunch with her and my aunt. And we're probably also going to go grocery shopping afterwards. Oh, actually, speaking of grocery shopping, let me go get it. When I was out at Trader Joe's, they apparently had a Valentine's launch of their like mini cold bags. So I ended up buying the pink one. It is so cute. I just love how tiny it is. I feel like the big size of this bag is like one of like the very first like grown-up purchases I ever made, because we got it right before we moved into our first apartment, and it's still going strong like 7 years later. And I know these bags were like really trendy when they came out sometime last year, but this color scheme is so cute. I love the pink on pink. They also had a purple on purple, which was very cute, but I feel like this is really nice. I'm considering using this as a new lunch bag. This is also going to be great when we go to conventions or go on picnics, because it is just like a little bit larger than your standard lunchbox. So there's definitely a lot of space in here to keep perishable items in. And whenever we go to conventions, we do try to pack as much food as we can to avoid having to pay the like outrageous cost that so much con hotel food tends to be. Anyway, this is my most recent purchase, and I'm very happy with it. It also was like $4, which feels like so incredibly cheap for a nice like insulated reusable bag. But I'm not gonna think too hard about it. I think it's really cute, and very excited to use it in the near future. Anyway, that is going to be it for my update right now. And I probably will come back to talk to you tomorrow when I have my next reading update. Okay, so it is now the next day. I wanted to talk really briefly about some of the stuff I got at Katsucon, since I think it would be fun to show. And I would say they were all kind of like lightly bookish inspired. First thing I got is something I've been on the hunt for, and that is I've really wanted to get some type of bag charm. And luckily there was a big booth in the dealer's hall that had a bunch of bag charms. And the one I picked out was this little like white and gold dragon, who obviously is going to be named Undarna. She is just so cute. She has a little keychain attachment piece up here, which actually you're able to like slide out so that you can take off the hardware and just have her be like a regular plush. I think I'm going to wait until it's not so gross outside because I don't really want her to get like super wet if it's rainy. And then I will attach her to my bag. I also overall just kind of like want to redo the one section of my bag that has my like transit pass on it. I want to get one of those like real extender like ID pass things and probably attach her to that as well. So I'm kind of waiting until I buy that to set up my whole like bag charm situation. But she's really cute and I'm very glad that I got her. And the other things I got from Katsucon were stickers. Very minimal in terms of my purchases from the Artist Alley and Dealer's Hall this year. Me and my friends split a set of stickers from this one artist that were all Yu-Gi-Oh themed. So the one that I have is this very, very cute little Karibo sticker that says, "Please be nice to me, I'm just a little guy." He's very cute and I think he's just the right size to fit on my Kobo case. And if not, I'll use him somewhere else. Maybe in the journal spread I do for Katsucon. And then from a different store, I picked up 3 different sticker sheets. The first one that I was drawn to is this one of a bunch of different cats. One fun fact about me is that whenever we see a Siamese cat in like any piece of merch, we always want to add it to our collection. And when I saw this, I thought it'd be super perfect to pick up because there was this adorable Siamese cat here and like a ragdoll cat down here. And I think we're having a sale, like if you got 3, it was at like a discounted price. So I also picked up this one, has a bunch of foxes on it, so cute. And lastly, I got this one that is all sparkly, that has a bunch of whale sharks on it. And this one is going to be a gift for Will, who is my best friend that really, really likes whale sharks. So yeah, that's my very, very small little Katsucon haul. Now let's move into talking about the reading updates I have. And yesterday, after I got done talking with you, I did make some more progress in reading Blood and Honey. I think I'm around 65% of the way through. I'm currently on page 343. I think this book is a little over 500 pages long, so I'm really happy with all the progress I've made. I've read almost 100 pages yesterday, and then this morning I ended up switching gears and starting You Didn't Hear This From Me by Kelsey McKinney. This is a nonfiction book from the host of the podcast Normal Gossip, except I think recently Kelsey McKinney has announced that she's actually leaving the podcast and switching over the host role to someone else. But I was super excited to pick this one up because we're going to her live show on Thursday. And if I'm lucky, I can try and finish this book before then. I don't know how reasonable that actually is to happen, but just this morning I read the first 2 chapters, which I think is about 50 pages into the book. And I have like very roughly started tabbing some things that I've liked. Me and my wife just had a very relaxing, slow start to the day. We just were sitting next to each other on the couch, having like a midday snack and reading together, which was very nice. And I am invigorated to probably read more of this later on today. But those are probably going to be the last reading updates I have for this vlog. Okay, so that is going to be it for this reading vlog. Let me know what you guys thought about this longer, like month-long format for reading vlogs. I thought it was fun because I was able to show you a little bit more about what I do in my daily life with like other events and stuff I have going on outside of just reading. But unfortunately, because February was a very busy month, I don't feel like I overall had as much time to read as I would have liked. And I didn't make as much progress on books as I really wanted to. That being said, I'm really happy with the books that I did end up reading in this vlog. I'm glad I got my first 5-star of the year. And I made progress on other books that were on my physical TBR. But with that all said and done, we are now at the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, consider liking, commenting, or subscribing if you aren't already. It's my goal in 2025 to try and hit as close as I can to 1,000 subscribers. So if you guys like my content and want to see more of it, I would really, really appreciate it if you guys are able to subscribe or share this video with other people who you think would also like my content. You can also follow me on my Storygraph and my Bookstagram, which are linked in the description. And with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!